Hello, my name is Lauren Mori, and this is my presentation on disaster management in Italy. Due to Italy's unique geographical location, the country is prone to a multitude of natural disasters, including floods, landslides, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and forest fires. Italy is located in a seismic hotspot on the boundary of the Eurasian and African tectonic plates. The highest seismic activity frequency occurs in the central southern part of the peninsula along the Apennine mountain range, which you can see in the photo starts below the Po Valley. Italy has the highest concentration of active volcanoes in all of Europe. Three main volcanoes include Mount Etna in Stromboli, located in Sicily, and Mount Vesuvius, located near Naples, infamously causing the burying of the city, Pompeii. Italy's disaster management has been significantly impacted by its history as the country has always been prone to natural hazards. The city of Pompeii was destroyed in 79 CE. The Roman Empire, who had dictatorship of Italy at the time, ordered civilians to evacuate, and while a majority survived, 1/6 of the population died. Emperor Titus arrived at Pompeii, and the aftermath proved to be monumental in the development of disaster management in Italy. He ordered deceased aristocrats' heirs to be transferred to refugees, which included releasing formerly enslaved people, and established a public work program for rebuilding. The L'Aquila earthquake of 2009 caused widespread devastation and casualty. Surrounding areas were demolished, 300 people died, and 60,000 people were left homeless. This had significant implication on disaster management. The post-earthquake response followed a hyper-centralized military approach, which faced extensive criticism regarding irregularities in public work projects, causing extensive legal disputes. The lack of effective warning systems was an extreme concern, and after the earthquake, there was investment of advanced sites and monitoring and alert technologies for seismic activity. The Po River Basin is a particularly vulnerable area to flooding, and one of the most devastating flood events was the Po River flood of 2000, killing 20 people. This prompted legislative changes and increased flood risk management. The Vajont landslide of 1963 was one of the deadliest landslides in history and considered to be Europe's most destructive slope failures. With over 2,000 deaths, the catastrophe prompted development of landslide susceptibility, hazard, and risk map. Modifying slope geometry and mitigation through structures was also used to reduce landslide risk. Italy's implementation patterns for disaster management involve a combination of top-down and bottom-up approaches. The key features of Italy's disaster management are legal and policy framework, decentralized disaster response, effective disaster preparedness process, and a vulnerability to natural risk. There are several factors that have contributed to the development of disaster management, including historical impacts of natural disasters, lack of coordination in the response apparatus, and an underestimation of disaster preparedness and risk. Due to Italy's decentralized approach, there are various participants involved in disaster management. The Italian Civil Protection Unit, which plays a central role in disaster response and coordination in the aftermath of natural disasters. Government officials. Local governing bodies are responsible for providing adequate information and draw up disaster management plans for their area. National governing bodies are responsible for policies and legal framework regarding disaster management. The International Federation of Red Cross has conducted research and provides support to the Italian government by evaluating and analyzing disaster management policies. And the European Union, which has supported Italy in its risk from management planning. Recognizing Italy's vulnerable position, the EU Civil Protection Mechanism is also used to pool resources in support of emergencies. Climate change possesses significant obstacles to disaster management. Italy's vulnerability to climate change has been exacerbated by rapid urbanization, concentrated poverty, environmental degradation, weak enforcement of building restriction, and rising sea levels. While Italy already is significantly vulnerable to natural risk, climate change has increased the frequency and severity of natural disasters. The impacts of climate change can be seen in the sinking of Venice. Venice's lowest spot could be completely submerged by 2050 without intervention of the Italian government for flood mitigation policies. Flooding is directly affecting the economy in Italy, often blocking businesses, and this is seen to have a profound impact on tourism and civilians in Venice, ultimately harming the country's GDP. Italy is investing in flood defense projects like the MOSC project, which is pictured, and you can see our movable sluices on the seafloor to protect the city from flooding. Italy is also focusing on sustainable tourism management in Venice to control mass tourism and limit its impact on the fragile environment in Italy. Disaster preparedness and management plans are vital to Italy's adaptation strategy to preserve Venice in the country.